bees. I got a lot of bees, and obviously with a lot of bees, you gotta do something with them. So over here, I've got a, what would be a honey farm. This thing isn't gonna work. So I've done a complete redesign of this thing. But why isn't this gonna work? Well, my goal was to not use many glass bottles, so I didn't have to waste a lot of glass. So we put the dispenser underneath the beehive, and then we were just going to filter out the honey bottles. This isn't going to work because if you look closely where the beehives would be, there's no space for a comparator. So there's really no way for me to measure or gauge the amount of honey inside the beehive. So yeah, with the redesign, we've moved this dispenser up above the beehives, and that means we need to fill the entire dispenser with glass bottles. So I think the best way for us to get glass bottles is to go build a witch farm. Well, I feel really dumb right now. So I spent quite a bit of time, maybe a few hours, 4 hours, I don't know, just wandering around the world looking for a swamp with a witch hut. And if you look right there, there's a portal, and this portal that connects to the Froglight farm up on my nether roof. And so I'm familiar with this area. I knew there was a swamp here, and I I must have walked past this witch hut a couple of times, and I just missed it. So I kept wandering around the world and stuff, and I I actually ended up buying like a taiga map. That way I could buy a swamp map, and it just led me back to this swamp here. And so after I found this witch hut, I decided to fly around, see if there were any more, and there ended up being another witch hut somewhere over there. Yeah. But anyways, I've got the witch hut, so I think I'm gonna spend a little bit of time clearing out an area. That way we can start working on the farm. Well, I was going to wing this witch farm. I kind of had an idea of what it was gonna do, and you know, but then I had an idea. So over here, before we get to the final design, this is a design over here that I've used a couple of times in the past. And the goal with this farm is to just, use a shifting floor, the witches fall through, and then they get pushed into the nether, where I then have like a lava stream that pushes them through another portal that then takes them up to like some AFK station up top. But that's kind of not necessary. I don't need to do that. That kind of ruins the mob cap with these farms. So over here, what I'm doing instead is, still a shifting floor. They drop down, and then they make their way into this boat here. Yeah. Some of you might recognize this. This is a boat ejector. So the boat thinks it's sinking in this water here. So whenever a mob, comes into contact with the boat, it will instantly get ejected from it. And I have this directly underneath a portal here. So when the witch gets ejected, its head ends up inside the portal here. So we can actually watch this happen. So just gonna watch this witch. We're gonna wait. And it's gonna happen instantly. Yeah. See, you you barely even see the witch like clip through everything. So it's pretty quick. It's fun to watch. So I've got the witches just kind of piling in here in the nether. I was trying to do something. I'm thinking about having all the resources come back into the overworld. So yeah, I don't know yet. But I think this farm is going to work pretty well. I just gotta, I gotta go build it now. And get it built, and then we can, I don't know, figure out the collection system. So before I start working on the storage system for this, or the, I don't know what you want to call it, the cooling system for the witches, I don't know. I just want to sit up here for a little bit, and I've got the farm running. You can kind of see that it's on. And I've got free cam, so I can go down here, and I'm gonna turn that on. I also have to be careful because I think I'm gonna turn on. Should have done this first, but there. Okay, so I actually died earlier. That's why I don't have as many levels anymore. But I fell off the top of there trying to turn on gamma. But yeah, you can see there's some witches in there. It's working, doing its job. And I can't really fly through here with free cam. I'm getting stuck. Oh, because I don't allow myself to fly through solid blocks. But yeah, you can see the witches. It's working pretty well. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with this. You can kind of see it happening here. Ooh, there's some redstone down here. That means witches are dying somewhere. It's interesting. Okay. Seems like yeah, I don't know where they went, but we got to go and start working on the storage system for this. I might actually need to grab some of this stuff. Yeah. So here's all the witches. Yeah. And we were only sitting there for like, I don't know, maybe less than a minute, 2 minutes maybe. It's a bit loud. I'm gonna turn them down. Which so we're actually gonna fly away. I just wanted to show you guys where the witches kind of come from and then where they go. And so we can make our hopefully that was far enough. But yeah, so we got kind of lucky. We got the Froglight farm right here, and then the witch farm right here. So two farms are pretty close. That kind of gives me more reason to come out this way. So yeah, let me put some stuff down. All right, so the goal here is to, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to push the witches into like a corner, maybe drop them down a hole or something, and then just force them to entity cram. Their items are going to go through some hoppers, and then I would like for our items to go back into the overworld. That way we don't ever have to come into here to collect our stuff. So I think entity cramming, and then maybe like a dropper tower. Maybe I'll have two separate. Oh, I can't do that. Yeah, I don't want to do that anyway. That would I don't want two separate like kill stations, and I need all the items to go in from the same side of the portal, and that is north. So we got to send items into this side of the portal. All right. All right. So we've got a I think we've got a design here that we can go ahead and test. So the idea is that the witches are going to come out of the portal, fall into the lava, and then probably drink like a fire res potion. They're going to get pushed into the corner above these hoppers here, and then entity cram. Once they die, they're going to drop their items, and their items are going to go up these dropper towers. So over here, I don't know. I got something here that's working. It's a little weird. But they're going to throw items back through the portal into these corners. And what we're going to test in a moment is whether or not these items actually make their way back into the overworld, going the right direction. They should. I don't know why they wouldn't. But once we verify that this is going to work, we can go ahead and figure out how we're going to get the storage done. What? Oh no. That means they are swimming in the lava. Yeah, I think that's the issue. Alright. That should be an easy fix. All we gotta do is like move the portal up. Probably move a bit of this redstone. Cool. That took a little longer than I thought it would, but we got it done. It's working now. So all we did is we took this portal, we moved it up a couple blocks, and then the chambers where the witches fall into, I lowered a couple blocks. Because I had some issues with the witches just colliding with each other and pushing each other back through the portal. But it's all fixed now. And yeah, it's pretty ugly, but it works. It's doing what it needs to do. And I'm going to go in the free cam. We're going to look at this little piece here. And so this is a dropper tower, and we've got a 90-degree turn here. And I wasn't sure how I was going to solve this issue, but I just threw some note blocks up above with some redstone there, and so whenever this observer here activates this note block here, that the redstone is also powered. Yeah, this works. It works better than you would think. So I've got like an example here because I just think this is interesting. So if I take like maybe half of this, well, watch this work. So it's like dispensing here, and we see a lead here, but if you check like the other droppers, you don't see anything. but it's lossless. We have our 21. I mean, it's pretty good. I don't understand, but it works. I should probably also show you guys the farm working, so you can see all the items in a moment. Yeah, here we go. So all the items coming through, back through the portal, and over some item filters. And yeah, I've done some AFK over here. I did a night of AFK because, you know, I desperately need these bottles. And yeah, this farm is doing pretty good. I can pop down there. But yeah, I've already gone through here and kind of cleaned it out, so there's not a lot of redstone in here. I did have to add the crafter because it just produces so much redstone. I didn't have the space in one of these chests. Tons of gunpowder and glowstone. Lots and lots of eyes and stuff. The glass bottles didn't come in as quickly as I was hoping. But over here, you know, I've got like shulker boxes of stuff. I've already taken the glass bottles back over to where we're going to start working on the bee farm. But yeah, I've got like tons and tons of redstone now, so I don't I don't really need to do much mining anymore for redstone, so that's pretty good. But yeah, I'm gonna clean up, probably turn off the farm, and we're gonna make our way over and start working on the bee farm. Actually, before we get started working on the honey farm, I have a couple bits of news I want to share. So first off, I want to talk a little bit about the direction of the Deadlands. I don't know, I've kind of noticed in others like single player worlds, people kind of focus on like decorating their world and building things, and as you can see, I've mostly focused on like farms, and yeah. So if you're familiar with the first season of the Deadlands, you know that this is the second season, and that doesn't imply a third season. This is meant to be my forever world. I just messed up with the first world. Yeah. But if you're familiar with the Deadlands, you maybe know that it's called the Deadlands because I was gonna go around the world and build dead cities, and each city would kind of focus on like farms and, you know, updated farms and just farms in general. But I wasn't sure if I wanted to kind of continue that into this season, so I just didn't really ever talk about it. But I kept the name. But I've decided that's kind of what I want to do here. So the first city we're going to start working on is the city here at the canvas. So we're going to start decorating this area, and if you look behind me, there's a nice little mountain that I might start adding some buildings to. Yeah, that might be pretty cool. But the second bit of news, which is probably even more important, is actually about Rotten Block. You know, I've not uploaded a Rotten Block episode in a little while, and that's because, well, Rotten Block Season 1 is coming to an end at the end of December. And yeah, so I'm gonna get out or put out one more episode, my final episode, and then we're gonna start working on preparing for Season 2. And that means we're actually gonna be looking for some new members. So if you are a Minecraft creator that has somewhat of an established channel already, and you're 18 plus and you're generally a family friendly channel, I'm going to have a link in the description for an application. So if you're interested, go click on that link, fill it out, and we'll be in touch. Yeah. All right. Well, the farm is done. It should hopefully work. I hope nothing went wrong while building. But I've been waiting for the sun to go down so we could place these beehives without worrying about, you know, the bees escaping. So we should be able to do this safely. Yeah. Okay, we're good. All right, we'll just place these down. Okay, I can hear the bees, which is good. And then we're gonna place down some glass. All right. So we should be good to go now. Let me put a little dark on that side. All right. And we're gonna sleep, and we should see the bees just exit. Exit the hives. This way. Oh, yeah. I forgot they're all babies. They haven't grown up yet. It's kind of funny. Uh, awesome. So we're gonna pop into creative because I think that would just make it easier to talk about this farm. Okay, so here's the farm without all the terrain around it. So it's pretty simple, I think that to understand maybe. So we've got the beehive here, and through this block we are reading a signal that it's outputting. So it's currently empty. Yeah, it's at level 0, so this should be at 4, and we're holding it at 4 with these crafters here. And so the honey level goes up to 5, so when it bumps up to 5, it should trigger both this piston here. That's going to push this block up into this position, and then it's going to activate the dispenser and collect the honey. And so the honey makes its way into these crafters here, and we have another set of crafters here that hold the level at 8. So when this bumps up to 9, it should craft the honey the honey into honey block. And so the honey block is placed into these barrels, and so are the bottles. So we filter out the bottles, and I just realized I forgot to do this in in survival, but I'll go do that. But we have these bottles here, a filter item. So we filter out the bottles, and they go down these hopper chains, and then make their way up these dropper towers. So I had to do something a little weird, there's usually issues if you take or do like if you do the dropper towers like right next to each other. You can't have the observers directly up against the droppers, otherwise you kind of disrupt the chain next to it. So I had to add a gap between, and then it just led to some awkward redstone. But this works. It's pretty cool. It's modular, so I could extend this as far as I want without really worrying about it. But since we do have 8 modules, I needed 72 stacks of glass bottles, so that's why I had to go build the witch farm. But yeah, just looking at it, that this is basically it. I mean, you might be able to just build it from from looking at it here. Just maybe a couple different angles, you might be able to figure it out. So these are droppers on this side. You've got a dispenser here, and really that's it. So the level here, and here are held at 4. And yeah, that's basically this farm. So since we have built a honey farm, I figured it might be a good idea to also build a honeycomb farm. So since we're in creative, I might as well just kind of work on the design. It'll be kind of similar to this. It won't be as bad. I think, how could I do that? Yeah, so I think we'll have a beehive. Is there stuff in here? Nope. And I think we'll do this. We don't need to worry about the double pulse thing because it's not going to spit out the shears. So we can... Where's the shears? So we can do that, and then take that. We don't want to craft anything. So honestly, we just need it to do this. Like, we just need the honeycomb. We don't need it to craft honeycomb block. Because, we want honeycomb. And I think that's the form factor. Pretty basic. So we want to be able to put shears into this. Since we have the iron farm, I'm going to put this farm below the iron farm, and we should be able to just craft up shears. So I think this is about... I'm about done. It's pretty easy. It's not too bad. And then we can put a crafter. I like using crafters for this because, you just do this, right? Actually, this. That's what we need. And then a comparator. Put a block here. And I just need some redstone dust. And that is it. So the level here gets held at 4, similar to the beehive over there. And that is about it. We're measuring. Oh, could I save some space? Do I need to save space? No, this is good. But yeah, this is the honeycomb farm. Actually, no, hold on. I do need. I forgot. I need flowers. So that can go there. I do want a similar form factor to this. So it looked like it was this. All right, that should be it. Yeah, we do need to make sure that this is also full. I think that's it. Yep, and there you go. This is it. This is the honeycomb farm. Awesome. So we got the honey farm, the honeycomb farm, and then we updated the iron farm with a filter system up here. But yeah, everything's doing pretty good so far. I've already collected, I think, a stack worth of honey block out of here, so this is just extra, you know. But yeah, the honeycomb farm's also doing a pretty good job. But with this honey farm, I knew there was a glitch when I designed it. So back here, down here, every once in a while, I'll get bottles like stuck in these droppers, and then it just gets stuck. And the droppers are just like getting spammed and stuff. I have an idea for how to fix that. I think I just need to maybe get rid of the 0 ticking or the 2 ticking, whatever you want to call it. I think as bottles are coming into the droppers, like one after the other, it might kind of spam the piston here and do some weird stuff. But overall, this farm's doing a pretty good job, and we got tons of honey now, tons of honeycomb. I do want to. I did have to do a little bit of work in here. So other than what I showed you, I had to reconfigure it a little bit so I could fit. Oh, that was loud. But yeah, I have a system in here for replenishing the shears, and then to do that, just a little bit of redstone, so a comparator off of the hopper there, and then some observers, and then there's this line back here. So whenever one of these hoppers runs out of shears, it's gonna hold a redstone block against this line, and then there's a crafter somewhere back there. You can kind of see it right there. That'll get powered, and then it powers this dropper here that then just shoots a shear down the line, and then this will retract once the hopper is full. So hopefully that made sense. I don't know. But yeah, this is actually doing really good. We've also hooked up the iron farm. So over here, we are crafting all the iron into iron block. But before we do that, we actually send iron ingot down into the crafter. So this is all backlogged, so we're just crafting iron block now. Also making some bone block. But yeah, like this is pretty nice. Just I don't ever have to think about these farms. I just have to fix this maybe, but like I don't have to think about these anymore. But yeah, I did a little bit of cleaning up. I got rid of the animals that I had here. I actually took them over to the canvas. I can't run right now. So yeah, if I zoom in, you can see like a fence post. They're over there, and then I've got my villagers over there as well. But yeah, like I don't know. Everything's looking good. It's all clean, and we just have to start decorating at some point. I don't know when that will be, but we'll do that soon, maybe. I don't know. And yeah, so last episode I talked about wanting to do, I don't know, the interior to the warehouse here. And yeah, I kind of started it during a live stream. And I mostly just got the structure in. I haven't done too much detailing and decorating. Um, but yeah, I think we have plenty of storage. You know, the only goal here with the storage is to just store all the items that we can't farm. Things like deep slate, and I'm sure there's others. Leaves is a good one. But yeah, I have a couple spaces here where I think it would be nice to like put a crafting station, maybe a stone cutter, you know, tools that we'll use while preparing materials for a build or a redstone thing. But yeah, I just need to come back into here, do some more work. I need to add 3 more of these. I can't remember the word for these. I don't know. I know it starts with a T. I just can't think of the word. Oh well. And here we are again at the end of an episode. And yeah, last episode I was planning to do more for this episode. Like I have some farms I wanted to build over at the canvas. I wanted to do more of the interior work at the canvas as well, or at the warehouse. But I got a little distracted working on my audio. I really want it to sound good. And I learned a lot about audio mixing and I don't know, my microphone. So hopefully I sound pretty good. If I do leave a comment. But yeah, I spent like 5 days working on the audio, so yeah, I didn't quite get to what I wanted to do for this episode. But yeah, we still built some pretty cool farms. We got the honey farm there, the honeycomb farm, and the witch farm. I think I'm pretty happy with the witch farm. But yeah, again, just a reminder, I think I'm gonna try to start moving the Deadlands into a different direction a little bit, not that different. I just want to start focusing on the bigger picture type stuff. Like we're not really gonna focus on the small farms, making that like the iron farm up there. I don't think that's gonna be like a piece of content, right? So I really want to start making the world pretty, start building up the world, building the infrastructure. I have some pretty cool ideas for infrastructure. I really want to focus on like horses and I don't know, just some cool infrastructure I never really use. I'm not really using the wings much. I know I'm wearing them. I'll take them off. But yeah, I've not really been wearing the wings too much, and I think it might be kind of cool to have some ground level infrastructure. And then again, Rotten Block Season 1's coming to an end at the end of December. And we are putting out an application. So if you are a Minecraft creator and are interested in joining an SMP, I'll have a link to the application in the description. Go fill that out. There's a bunch of information. And we're meeting as a group on the 14th to kind of select those that we want to invite for interviews and stuff. So sometime after that, we should reach out and contact you guys. But yeah, go fill that out. And I hope you enjoyed this episode. And if you did, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. See ya.